I have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What's up, guys? What is up? Man, we are at the biggest stage in fishing. We are at the Bassmaster Classic. And, man, what day is it?
Today is Championship Sunday, boys. The top 25 anglers, the best of the best in the world, is out on the Tennessee River today, and they were hammering it out for the biggest prize in professional bass fishing, guys.
Man, that's it. I mean, they have they fished their whole life and wanted their whole life to be able to come and be a part of this stage. You would have asked them. Here when they were growing up, what is the stage or where do they want to be when they grow up? They say they want to go to the Bassmaster Classic. And real quick, if you can hear that noise in the background, that is old Dave Mercer playing around. They're getting set up. I mean, that is how close we are. You can see the backdrop. And we are right here in their media center. Where they have given us, free range of pretty much wherever we want to go and been able to do whatever we want to do, haven't we?
Yeah, man. Right now, we're actually doing the podcast. We're doing a Deck Talk podcast right here in the press conference room. We are sitting where later on this afternoon, the top 6 anglers in the Bassmaster Classic from 1st to 6th is going to be sitting right here in this very spot, doing their press conferences to all the TV, the press. Anybody out there in press is going to be asking all kinds of questions, including us. We will be sitting right there in the audience this afternoon, taking all the press conference in. So, but it's pretty cool, guys. Having a blast up here. And don't get me wrong, we have been busting our tail. We have been working hard, but we're having fun. Love it, love it, love it. We love what we do. We love what we're doing up here. And this is actually, I don't know. Have you ever been to a Bassmaster Classic, Colin?
Never been to a Bassmaster Classic.
This is our first one, and our
one
first
of many.
We are having complete VIP access as media, so that makes it even sweeter. And got to meet a lot of people with bass, and they've just treated us like they've known us for 30 years.
Yep. And so we do want to thank Bass for what they have done for us and the love that they have shown to us, even us with being a smaller podcast, smaller production company, and just what they've done. I mean, they have bent over backwards to make sure that we have what we need to do what we want to do. And so we want to show the love. I mean, this is by far the greatest thing that we've done as a company wise and as a podcast. So, but again, we want to say thank you, Bass, for all that you've done, and showing that love to us. We deeply, deeply appreciate it. So if you are near Knoxville, Tennessee, again, we got the weigh-ins going to be starting here. What about 3 hours? Something like that. Here in about 3:30. They have to be off the water by 3:30. Weigh-in's going to start by 4. So get up here. Let's pack out Thompson Bowling Arena. And right now we've already been breaking records. What was it? Friday.
The first day of the Classic, they had over 6,500 people in the arena to watch the weigh-in. And yesterday, I think they said it was 20% bigger on Saturday. And could you imagine how big the crowd's going to be today on Championship Sunday?
Right. Let alone they had over 6,700 people at the launching on Friday. On a work day, they had over 6,700 people. Yesterday was not as many, but Norman knows because he was out in the boat with Matt Robinson, and which we'll kind of talk a little bit about that here in a minute. But Norman knows that. I mean, it come. We had a downpour, didn't we?
Oh yeah, when I woke up yesterday at tell me how my alarm set, 4 o'clock,
4 o'clock,
4 o'clock, and it was raining hard. It was blowing. It was lightning, and I was thinking, oh man. So I looked at the weather, and the weather showed, thank goodness, Colin, it was going to be out of here by 8, and just like the weather forecast said on my phone. About 8 o'clock, the rain stopped. Right about 7 o'clock. Because it blasted off 7:30. So at 7:30, it had no more rain.
But people still showed up.
But
I mean,
that's the kicker. It was pouring down rain, and there was still people and crowd starting to build with the rain. They had raincoats, they had ponchos on, and it wasn't holding nobody back.
And I tell you, we were at the dock today. We done some videos. We got to do a couple more interviews. It was great, but we ended up. I mean, it was packed in there. I guarantee you, Norman, they're going to break the record again for
I think they're going
most
to
people.
I think they're going to break the all-time record.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what the all-time record is, but I think Friday they said they came close on Friday to break an all-time record.
And they said something yesterday about they're wanting to break the record for most people in Thompson Bowling Arena, and they have a very good chance because the top 25, you kind of have first place going into today. Kind of was he had a big step on everybody, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
What is about 5-6 pounds that he was.
Yep.
Jeff Gustafson was up, so Gussie had 6 pounds up. But if y'all been watching the Bass Track, how much is he up right now?
He's up 3 ounces. Gussie has a little bit of a slow start to the day.
Yep.
So Scott Canterbury is right on his heels.
Yep.
3 ounces out as of about 10 minutes ago. And then Brian Cox, I think, is either.
Yeah, Brian
Cox is either third or fourth right now with, I think, 5-1 out. So, but there's still 3 hours to go, guys, and anything could happen. So they're pounding it out there right now.
Yep, and our good buddy Matt Robinson is hammering it down too. Right now, he's got the big fish for the day. He will not have the big fish. I mean, if he brought in what he has right now, there's still time. I mean, he can still get it. And the way he's fishing, and which Norman can tell you, because he's out on the boat, the way he is fishing, if he's going to bring in any more fish, it's going to be a big fish. I mean, what was it? 515 is the big fish for the tournament. His big fish for the day was 4.8. So
here's a little bit of a kind of a insight on Matt's fishing big. He's fishing for bigs.
Yeah.
He could probably get a limit both Friday and Saturday, but he's throwing big baits. He's trying to get big bites. And it goes to show the old saying about the Bassmaster Classic is nobody's ever going to remember second in the Classic.
No.
There's no points involved here. It's win or go home. So he's fishing big. Here's the thing. Matt, I think, is the only angler that made the top 25 Championship Sunday that did not have one of the only. I think there's one more that might have had 9 fish for 2 days.
Everybody else had 10.
Matt made the championship round with a 5-fish limit. He had 3 fish on day 1 and 2 fish yesterday, and made the top 25. So that is impressive just alone to make the top 25 with 5 fish.
I mean, if he would have had the limit that, if he would have had 10 fish, same quality fish of what he was, he would have been leading this going into the championship.
And he should have been actually higher. He only missed 1 fish all day yesterday, and we both seen the fish. and it was bigger than the two he weighed in, and it probably went close to 5 pounds. So
Yeah.
so he could have been at the top. I don't know how close he was, but he would have definitely been 4, 5, 6 places higher if he would have put that fish in the boat. But
Yeah.
hey, that's fishing. That's
Yeah.
why you go out there and you try to get them in the boat, because they don't count if they don't come in.
Yeah, Jonathan asked, is that a Norman Lee Mountain Dew? That is definitely a Norman Lee Mountain Dew that I jacked from his cooler. So,
Jonathan, getting back to that dang ass Mountain Dew crap. Well, it's true, by the way.
he says that because I had 14 years at Coca-Cola.
Oh yeah.
And so,
there
is a cooler just right here that is.
Because I've had four. Actually, we're not advertising anybody, so I'm not going to show the logo. But I've been to a fast food restaurant this morning we've been to a fast food for breakfast,
Yeah.
and I had a Coke, and that's actually a refill, so that's my second Coke in that glass. I've had 2 Mountain Dews, and the reason being was I got up this morning, man, I was dragging my ass off.
Yeah.
We were tired yesterday, and then I spent, I was working on the boat yesterday with Matt. We filmed all day. We filmed him all day. And we're going to have that video to come out to show, a day on the water with an angler in the Bassmaster Classic. See what they go through, see what the grind is like for front center. And we will have that video coming out, but it's kind of going to show what happens during the day on a boat with one angler. But it was a grind yesterday, not only for Matt, but for myself as well, because it was hard work, doing the filming thing. So, I was dragging a little bit this morning, so I'm a little bit wired right now, because just to get in here and do this podcast, so I didn't seem like I was half asleep, I had to pop me some dews. So, Jonathan, thanks for bringing it up, dude.
Yeah, and but he also asked, what is the fish limit for the Classic?
5 fish a day. It's same as nothing's changed as far as the limit. It's all 5 fish a day, and they're allowed small spots or largemouth, just like any typical bass tournament. So nothing's changed in that aspect.
Now, let's talk a little bit about what Gussie's doing right now, and how is he fishing right now?
Gussie is doing something different than anybody else is doing. The majority.
He proved it in 2019 because he came here. The elites came here in 2019, and he showed up in 2019. He's doing the exact same thing. Now you can tell him.
Yeah, exactly. But nobody else is doing it. And here's how good he is at what he does. He done it in 2019. People's trying it. People has tried what he's doing to try to duplicate what he does. And the Classic, 2 years removed from the last time the BASS Elite Series was here, and he won it hands down here, doing the same thing he's doing today.
Yeah.
But nobody could figure out how or what he does. That's how good he is at that deep water game.
Well, see, we talked to him. What was it, Friday?
Yeah.
We talked to him, and he kind of explained a little bit to us what he's doing. Again, he is fishing deep. There's other guys that are fishing this that have fished deep, but he kind of broke it down a little bit for Norman and I. And he told us that he's using his forward-facing sonar, and so when he's scanning, he's able to tell, and he's used his forward-facing sonar for so long. And he understands and knows what he's looking for. He said, all I'm looking for is a crack in the bottom. And because he said what they're doing is those what they're doing is the big smallmouths will set down into those cracks. And so when he is so all he's doing, he's scanning. He won't make a cast until he scans and sees what he wants. And so if he finds some cracks, he's throwing it in there. He told us if it doesn't go in, I can see that it's not going into that crack, I'm not getting hit. It has to go into that crack. So I mean, that's even good advice for any kind of river systems, Norman. I mean, because how we know about nickajack and stuff with it being
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Especially when you're fishing tournaments and you have a time limit on, how long you can be out
Yeah.
there and fish for what you need to catch. The thing about it is, you can make uh, 10,000 casts a day. But if you only have 100 of those 10,000 casts that are, and the key word is productive cast.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of times when you're seeing a tournament angler on TV and they're just kind of cruising down the shoreline with their rod straight up in the air and their bait hanging down on the end of it, you're probably saying to yourself, well, why isn't he chunking and winding? Well, the reason he's not chunking and winding as he's on the trolling motor is he's waiting to be able to put that bait in the perfect spot, the perfect opportunity to catch the fish. Because if he's just throwing randomly as he's going down that area, he is not making the cast he needs to make. So productive cast over just casting, and that's what Gussie's doing. If he tosses his bait and it drops and it misses the crack that he's trying to get that bait to drop in, and can you imagine trying to get your bait to drop in a crack in the bottom that is this wide and a smallmouth laying in it, but not only getting it to land in the crack, uh, you're having to cast that bait exactly where it needs to go on the surface, so when it drops 20 feet or 25 feet, however deep he's fishing, it has to land in the crack as it drops. So that's how good he is, because he could actually watch his bait hit the bottom, and he'll know if his bait goes into that crack. If it doesn't hit that crack, he doesn't even let the bait on the bottom, even if he knows as it gets about halfway down that it's not going to hit the crack when it does hit the bottom. He's bringing it back and he's casting it again, because again, you can make 1,000, 10,000 casts a day, but if you're not making a productive cast, it's a wasted cast.
Yeah.
So that might be a little bit of a hint for all you younger anglers too. When you're fishing a tournament, don't worry about cast. Make that productive cast, even if it means hanging on your lure for 5 minutes as you're cruising around the shoreline lucking. And when you find that opportunity where you're going to be able to make a productive cast into something that you know a fish is in, it doesn't do you any good to be hitting water if in your mind there's nothing laying there.
Exactly.
Make those productive casts, and that's what Gussie's doing. But he's taking it to the next level. It's hard enough to hit your exact target when you can see it on the shoreline, 40, 50, 60 feet from where your boat sets. But he's having to do it by his only eyes is what he's looking down at that 12, 14-inch screen on the front of his deck. That is his eyes. That is what he's looking at, just like if he was looking at a tree limb hanging in the water 40 foot away from the boat on the bank. And he's having to do that by looking at a screen. And that's how, and he's not the only one. A lot of these guys are so dialed in to how that technology works that they could actually fish just like they're looking at something on the bank, and be able to look at that screen and have their bait position exactly where they need it to be on bottom to catch these fish.
Exactly. Now, yeah, he has brought in the biggest bags. He's been leading the tournament from day one.
Oh yeah.
He was heavily odded to win. If he could have duplicated what he done in 2019, Dave Mercer said yesterday on the stage when Gussie came up to weigh in, and he brought in, I think he had 17-12 or something like that yesterday. And he told everybody, he said, this is for yesterday was day 6, pretty much, if you're counting 2019, that he's come in here leading and taken away through days, like 6 days in a row. He has led on was it Lake Loudon, and so on the Tennessee River, which is, I mean, it is, it's crazy for somebody that is from Canada, but to come down here and pretty much just demolish the field. But I mean, right now you got Scott Canterbury that is nipping on his heels. What'd you say? 3 ounces that Canterbury is. Canterbury's got 4 fish.
I'm gonna look at a quick update here.
Yeah.
I have an update for you in a second.
So, but we've got. I mean, it is. But Gussie's only got 1 fish, so. How Gussie is doing it, you're either going to live by it or you're going to die by it. So far, I mean, he's been living by it. It has been productive for him, but we did see something that last night we had last night and this morning. The weather this morning when we were at the dock, it was 46 degrees. So that has been a little different. The only thing that's really stayed consistent during the tournament so far has been the afternoon temperatures. It's been right in the upper 70s into the 80s. So, and it's been off 2 to 3 degrees from day to day. But other than that, the weather's been pretty consistent. Yesterday we did have a little rain, but it did not cool down, did it? What it was this morning. This morning it was chilly out there on the water.
Oh yeah. It was by far the chilliest morning we've had so far. But anyway, guys, I got a bass tracker update. Gussie has put another fish in the boat. He now has 2 fish on today's count, 41-11. So he has actually extended his lead to 3-3 over
Canterbury.
Scott Canterbury. Canterbury still has 11. So a 3-3 lead over Scott Canterbury. And Brian Smith actually has pulled into 3rd. He is 6-2 back.
Heck yeah. Now, but with that being said, Gussie may have just, with that fish right there, may have just sealed his deal. Because we thought coming into it and talking to him and doing the interviews with all the anglers on Media Day on Thursday, we thought, and they thought that this was going to be a knockout, drag out. Everybody was going, the weather was setting up, the temps looked like they were going to be good, and everybody thought they were was going to be. We had, I think there was 2 of them, 3 of them on Friday, and we hated. We had, I think, 2 of them yesterday.
Yeah.
And we hated the fact that our buddy and hometown guy, Buddy Gross, had to walk the stage and with a big goose egg. So, but we know that that's going to. It ain't going to kick him too far down. I mean, because Buddy, they are professionals. They'll just turn right around. Next tournament's coming up at Morris Lake. It should be good. They got Morris Lake and then Santee Cooper. I guarantee you that Brandon Polinick at Santee Cooper is going to be the one that you're going to have to watch. Them or the Johnson brothers. That kind of puts more into their home around to what they're kind of used to fishing, and watch for them 3 to wind up putting up some big numbers. Yeah. So Norman Johnson asked the question, said, how much does that weather temp change affect the style of fishing the anglers are doing?
It's changing it up a lot.
Well, because why he's saying that it changes it up a lot, because when they done the practice, what was the temperatures when they practiced on it?
Well, when they were practicing, the weather was completely different. The weather was a lot colder.
Yeah, it was in the 20s when they were practicing.
Exactly. And here's the thing, again, we've said it before. When you're practicing for a tournament, you always want to try to practice where they're going, not where they are in the moment. But when it's in the 20s, it's kind of hard to do that when you have 20-degree weather outside, and all of a sudden, 5-6 days later, all of a sudden now it's in the 80s for 2 days straight anyway.
Yeah. Well, so, Thursday was even. So, really, it's really been 3 days, and then today's going to be up there also. They should have like partly clouded skies. I do know what we were talking to Canterbury this morning, and he said that he just hopes that it's going to be sunshiny today. And he said if it's sunshiny, he's going to wreck them. So, but what's happening with this warm temp? I mean, them fish they are ready to spawn right now, and they're moving up. You're going to see more today of the anglers that fish that shallow bite. They're going to play more effective, and you've already started seeing it on the bass track.
And I'll say one thing too: if that sun comes out right and the fish are starting to move up by the end of the day, and again, there's still 3 hours to go. At the end of the day, watch for Brian Cox name to be towards the top of the board as well. We actually done an interview with him down on the dock this morning when they were staging for blast off.
And he
didn't really kind of say it in too many words. Of course, you
can see it though.
You're never going to say what he's going to be doing, but you could see it in his eyes that he wasn't just excited to get back out there to fish. There was something going on with how giddy he was, not only in the interview, but just watching him carry himself as we were talking to him. He couldn't wait to get out there, and I'm not going to tell you, I don't think it was just to get out there and throw a line around. He had something that he was excited about.
Yeah.
So and if they are moving up, that's going to be right in Ryan Cox's wheelhouse, guys.
John Cox.
I'm sorry, John Cox's wheelhouse.
So
my apologies, John. If you see this later, John Cox's wheelhouse. But that's what he loves to do. And he's deadly when that happens.
And he's done it. Many tournaments have been able to come into where because I think he was like 7-8 pounds behind Gussie. So, but 7-8 pounds, and if those fish move up. Brian, John Cox can do it, and he can make that big leap. That especially since Gussie only has 2 fish in there, and if John Cox can get 5, that's 4.5-5 pounds, and he is going to give Gussie a run for the money. If that sun comes up and it's a warmer sun, which it should be, it's going to be warming up. So,
well, here's the thing too, Colin. And we hate talking about it because I wouldn't even want to bring it up, except for the fact that he repented himself last year, and that is Jason Christie.
Yeah,
that is Jason Christie. Jason Christie has had 2 heartbreakers here at the Classic, and one of those heartbreakers, both days, final day Championship Sunday, he was going out in the lead, but the last heartbreak he went out in the lead on Championship Sunday with a 6-pound lead over his competition. So just with that, any lead with this field, one stumble and everything could change.
Oh, real quick.
So a 6-pound lead could be overtaken.
Right. But he also won last year. At Hartwell, he beat Kyle Welcher. They were tied neck to neck going into the final day, Championship Sunday. They were tied, and he beat Kyle Welcher by 2 ounces. And so,
closest Bassmaster Classic finish in history, by the way.
Yeah. And so, let's see. Jonathan says, someone says, "Hey, Kaka, what's up, buddy?"
What's up, little man?
My nephew
and your Uncle Kaka has a present for you when you get home, or when he gets home.
Yeah, I do for sure. We got him quite a bit of stuff. So, but yeah, we talked to Jason, and he was very humble about it because we asked him, like, what is it like to be coming in it? Is there any kind of weight lifted off of you knowing that, hey, I've won this, I'm the reigning and defending champion? And really, he was honest about it. He says, it is what it is. There is a weight lifted off. I have won it, but I still have that drive. I want to. And he was in the top brackets, to win this. But things just really haven't. The fish have been doing some weird stuff, um, but but he said, "Hey, I'm only going to be defending champion for at that time." He said for another 3 days, and so unless I win it, and so I mean he was very humble about it, and but I do think that if Gussie pulls this off, that Jason Christie's going to be thrilled about it with him.
Yeah.
I mean, because they are buddies, they room together, and so. But the championship trophy is going to stay. It looks like it as of right now. It looks like that
It'll still stay in the Christie Travel House.
Yeah, it will. So, but we have. Oh crap! Yeah, we do have videos that we have done. Norman, do you want to kind of talk about that? It's like the not the editing, but the interviews. You want to kind of talk about what we're going to be doing?
What we're doing is we done how many? We ended up interviewing 11. Here's another cool fun fact too. Out of the 11 anglers that we got to interview on media day, I think 8 of those 11 is fishing today in Championship Sunday.
So if any of them win, we're taking partial claim of it.
Oh yeah,
So, I mean,
exactly.
We
put a little bit of a mojo on each.
That's
and every
right,
one
that's
of them
right.
when we're talking to them. But anyway, those interviews, we are going to take and put all those interviews together, and we're going to make it into an episode of the Deck Talk podcast. So, keep an eye out for that. I'm not sure exactly when we're going to air it. Of course, we haven't even started editing it yet,
No.
but it probably won't be for a few weeks before we're actually going to probably run it as our weekly podcast. We'll still have an opening and talk to you a little bit about what it's going to be, and the interview process, but then we'll go into running the interviews. Don't miss it. We have some pretty cool stuff that we were talking to some of these anglers about, and every one of the anglers was really open with us on, their fishing life, along with their family life and their on the road life. So, it's kind of a mixed bag of what we talk about. But don't miss that episode. We'll give everybody a reminder as it gets closer when we're going to air that. But it's going to be a must see. We're up close and personal with some of the best anglers in the sport. So it's something y'all want to keep an eye out for too. The Deck Talk podcast, the media day episode.
Yeah, and so we also with what going on with that. We've got it's almost about 25 of the anglers that fished here on the Classic. That we've talked to. And it might be more than that. I did go to a public school, so my count might be a little bit off. But they have agreed they want to. They love the fact of how we are very interactive with our viewers on this, and they are able to ask questions. But as it's coming up and leading to it, we will put on our social medias and stuff of who we have coming on. And we are changing the days to Thursday instead of Monday at 3. We're changing it to Thursday at 6 p.m. We want as many people to be on here and be able to see the Deck Talk podcast chat with Norman Lee and Colin Burnett. So we want to be able to get more interactions. And I think this Thursday that we're doing it, we're going to have. We've got a giveaway, so you don't want to miss that because Spear Point Hooks has showed up for us. We told them that we're coming to the Classic and we wanted to do a giveaway right after the Classic, and they showed up.
Yeah, they did. So yeah, that'd be a pretty cool little gift pack there.
Yep. So we're going to do that, and we might break it up to where we can have multiple.
Yeah.
So we might do that also, but let's because we're really kind of short on time today because we are in their media room and we've got other people trying to get in here. So we're going to wrap this up here in a minute. But I want to talk about about Lewis. We talked to Lewis. Uh, oh shoot,
Lewis
Monetti.
Minetti.
Minetti.
Lewis
Yes.
Minetti.
Yes.
He is the collegiate qualifier for this year's Classic.
Yes. And man, and
And I'll tell you real quick before you say, Lewis Minetti is the poster for big stage, big dreams. If you have the drive, if you love to fish, you have the drive, you have the enthusiasm, and you have the dedication. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter how much money you have the dream, you have the drive, you have the dedication. You spend time on the water, big stage, big dreams.
Yeah.
And Lewis Minetti, he's the poster child for
and it
that
goes
saying.
right, and it goes to show that what Bass is doing with the high school and the college, with growing these kids up into the tournament fishing like that they are doing it right, and because not did Lewis qualify for it through the collegiate. Um, he's hanging in there. I mean, he's fishing today.
He's in the top 25 and he's doing well.
Yeah. So I think last time I checked, he had 3 or 4 fish, and so I mean, he's doing it. Way to go, Lewis, man! And we are definitely looking forward to having. He's going to be on here with us.
And I was going to say also look up Lewis Minetti.
Yeah,
on his YouTube channel, because I want you to kind of we want you to look at the background story of Lewis Minetti, and he has some stuff on, just for instance, just as far as it doesn't matter where you come from or what you have. If you have the dream, you have the drive. You can make this dream happen. But his boat in general, that he actually qualified to fish with, that he fished out of collegiately. You want to talk about a little bit? We don't go too much in that because we want you to go to his channel to check that out.
Or even go to his channel, check him out, and definitely come back when we have him on here. It might be we're going to contact him, let the Classic get over. We'll probably wait a week before we contact him and see when we can get him on. But we're going to get him on as soon as possible because of his story that he is. Because the boat that he fished in and got qualified to come here was older than he is, and so. I mean, to me, and he said he had no graphs. He'd done it old fashioned, and especially somebody that's 18, 19, 20 years old. You don't see kids doing that now. I mean, it's just all they want to do is just make sure I got that nice boat. I've got them graphs. And and he said that we talked to him this morning before the launch, and he told us, he said he's ready for them to be pushed up, and he says if they push up, he said I'm going to have a blast, and that's all he's doing today. I mean, because I think he was roughly about 14, 15 pounds. I think that's what it was out of the lead. So I mean, something major he has to go out there and catch a massive sack to be able to come in to fight against Gussie. I mean. But that goes to show.
With that being said, he still has he still can move up through the field, and every spot you gain in the Classic means this, and there's a big difference between finishing 25th and finishing 7th, 6th, 5th.
Yeah.
As far as what they're going to take.
Top 8's. No, I take that back. Top 6 is getting 20, 25 grand. So, but the first place, I'd like to see that check.
Over
300,000 going to whoever wins, and but right now it kind of looks like it's a battle between Gussie and Scott Canterbury. We do wish both of them the best. We hope that that's going to be a knockout, drag out. If Canterbury can cull a couple fish, it's going to be close on them.
Yeah, so it's going to be a tight one.
But
and if you can't be in Knoxville, to come to the show. It's going to be streamed live on bassmaster.com.
And also on FS1.
And FS1 as well. But if you're in the Knoxville area, even close to the Knoxville area, it doesn't cost you a dime to get there. There's not many sporting venues or sporting events this big that it doesn't cost you a dime to get in the door.
No.
To watch.
And people give Bass a hard time about it because they could easily charge 20, 25, 30,
and they would still
whatever
have the same
dollars.
turnout.
Yeah, and they're gonna have the people.
So it doesn't cost you a dime to come in and sit in here and watch the weigh-in. Now I will tell you guys, this is, if you're able to come to the Bassmaster Classic and watch the big stage, Big Dreams, this is the best show you will ever be a part of and ever watch.
Yeah. So, but again, guys, we thank y'all for joining, and we wanted to come on here and kind of have to be in the media room and take up every advantage that Bass has given us to be able to use and utilize for our media clearance. And so this was top priority for us to be able to at least do one podcast here. We were wanting to do more than that, but man, I didn't realize though how busy we were going to be. Next time we're going to be ready for it and be able to kind of schedule our time. There's things that we could have done a lot better to be able to have this time. Because Emily and Mandy with Bass and they're part of the media. They're over the media. They have done us right. Every day they've asked, "Hey, do you need that room?" Because we told them we was wanting to do a podcast, and about an hour and a half, 2 hours before we started this podcast, we told them, or I messaged Mandy and I said, "Hey, are we able to get into that room?" She made a contact to Emily. Emily made a contact here at Thompson Bowling Arena. Said, "I got 2 guys that's coming in here wanting to do a podcast," and so let them in, and here we are. We were able to get in.
The media rooms weren't supposed to open to the Bass media until 2:00.
Yep.
We actually got in the doors at 11:30. Came right in. Mandy made the phone call. So again, like Colin said, we want to really thank Bass and thank Mandy and Emily for just taking us in and what they've done for us.
So, and we're definitely, we're wore out after this. It's a lot of running. We don't understand how, or don't see how that the Bass, the people that work at Bass can do this.
It's a big production.
Yeah, it is. And we're backstage behind the scenes looking at all of the production that it takes to put this on. And there's an entire room as big as the media room we're sitting in now with just computers and switchboards. And it's insane. Yeah, it is. And, but again, let's go to, if you want to go to be part of Bass, go to their website and be part of the Bass Nation. There's a lot of perks of being part of the Bass Nation. And so, you get discounts, you get all these little different prizes and stuff. We recommend that you go and join that. But also, the next classic is going to be at Grand Lake. And so that's going to be a great one. Was talking to Jason Chrissy. He said that he's actually going to be starting to fish some of the opens that's out there to where he can kind of get his feet ready and mindset ready, because he's wanting to win. He's wanting to win another one. So, so again, thanks Bass, and for all that you've done. Keep it up, and y'all come out to Thompson Bowling Arena. Come watch this weigh-in. It is going to be an epic show. We're going to be breaking records while we're here. Already broke records, and let's break a record for here in Thompson Bowling Arena for the most people in Thompson Bowling Arena. and that says a lot, especially when you look up in them rafters and you see all the championships that they've had here. So let's get down to Knoxville and to Thompson Bowling Arena, and let's pack this place out, brother.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to get off here. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel at Deck Talk Podcast. Hit that like and subscribe button, and make sure y'all share this on our Facebook. And so just share it, show the love to us, and we appreciate everything. Thank you for all the people that had commented and hit that like button also. So we want to tell y'all that we really deeply appreciate it, and we are going to get off here and let the other people come in and do what they got to do. And so we hope
the next people coming in here, they're coming in here. They actually have to set up and get ready for later on this evening for the press conferences.
Yep.
So we're holding up the big people.
Right. So, but hopefully we'll see y'all out on the water. And
also, guys, before we close this out, go to Colin at CMB Bassett 1983, as well as my YouTube channel as well, at Normally Fishing, and like and subscribe to those two pages, as well as the Deck Talk Podcast YouTube channel.
Heck yeah. So, but again, we hope to see y'all out on the water, and we hope that you live the passion.
Tight lines.